classes. I hope you are doing well and also preparing for your midterm exam. Today we are going to do the concluding part of the French Revolution. We have done already the two parts and this is the final and the concluding part. So let's get started. But before we start, did you subscribe to my channel? If not, please do, and you know where the subscribe button is. So okay, let's start with the concluding part of the French Revolution. So up till here we have seen that the king has accepted the parliament and there is the National Assembly. But you know, somewhere inside the king was not at all happy. The king actually did not want the constitution. So what did he do? He conspired against his people. Okay, he and the nobles, they carried out propaganda and they even took the support of the neighboring countries Austria and Prussia against the people of France. And the people of France came to know about it and they declared war against Prussia and Austria. So thousands of common people, they joined the revolution. They actually went to fight the war, and this is the war, for the very first time, this is the war of the people against the aristocrat. Okay? So all the men were busy fighting. And what did they do? When they declared war against the Prussia and Austria in 1792, they composed, that is Roger de Lille composed the anthem, a patriotic song called the Marseille. Okay, so, and from Marseille, because they have, carried on their march from Marseille to Paris. When children, you have the map, the outline map of France in your book. There you will see that they have started the march from Marseille to Paris. And this song is actually, it is a revolutionary chant by the people against all the aristocrat. Now ask me one question. When the men were away fighting, then who took control over the houses? It is the women of France. Somebody might say that the women have no contribution in the French Revolution, but the women actually had contributed much towards the revolution. When the men were away fighting, the men were away in the war, and these women took control over the houses. They have worked as a domestic maid, as a seamstress, as a laundresses, and they have, earned bread for their family. They have taken care of the children. Now, it was a time where many political, clubs sprang in Europe, one after another. Okay? So one of this club, a famous club, was the Jacobin club, named after Saint Jacob. And their leader was Maximilien Robespierre, who ultimately will become the virtual dictator of France. So what happened? The members of this Jacobin club, were all less prosperous people. They were painters, pastry cooks, all this type of servants, and they belonged to the less prosperous class. You must remember that these people were not given any place in the National Assembly, because as the National Assembly, gave the property people the right to vote. Now this Jacobin club, they were something different from the other clubs, and they started to wear striped pants. Okay, they wear shoes without the knee breeches because they did not want to follow the nobles who wore shoes up to the knee breeches. Now, they were known as sans-culottes. That means without knee breeches. And in addition to that, they wore red cap, which symbolizes liberty. So we know that after 1789, the king's palace was shifted to Tuileries. And in the summer of 1792, the Jacobins, the Jacobin club, one of the famous club, the Jacobin, along with all the Parisians, they marched towards the Tuileries, the palace. Because there's so many reasons, due to short supplies of food, the people were angered and they broke into the king's palace. And the king and other members of the royal family, including the queen, they were all taken as hostages. Okay? Now, and the the radicals, the revolutionary radicals, the Jacobins, they started to put pressure on the king. And the king was kept in home prison. He was a home prisoner in his own palace. Now, the Jacobins decided that they will dismiss the National Assembly and they will, establish the convention. A convention. Now, and it was also decided that all men above 21 years, regardless of whether they pay taxes or not, will be allowed to vote. And that's what happened. Now, on 21st September 1792, France became a republic. It was a constitutional democracy. Now it has become a republic. So now France is a republic. And you know what is a republic? Republic means the leaders, including the head of the government, were all elected by the people. So now the king has to meet his fate because the king was tried for treason. He has betrayed his country and the convention voted against him. The king was found guilty of treason and he was sent to guillotine. His head was cut off on 21st January 1793.
Look, Louis, the French people really want to thank you for your services as king, but it's just not working out, and we've decided to go another way. So, yeah.
Okay, and a year later, the queen also faced the same fate. So that is the end of the monarch in France. Now France will face the darkest period of the revolution. This period, the period after the fall of the monarch, the period between 1793 to 94, can be said to be the darkest period of the revolution. That is the reign of terror. Okay? No, Jacobin has to deal with the moderates. Jacobin will put down all the riots, and soon Robespierre, that is Maximilien Robespierre, will become the virtual dictator of France. So Robespierre, have maintained a severe policy of control, and those who he has felt his enemies were all guillotine. Members of the clergymen, nobles, even members of his own political party, was also sent to the guillotine. And what is this guillotine? You can say this has been coined as, the most convenient way to kill people in a painless manner. So this was actually invented by Dr. Guillotine, and it is like two poles with a sharp blade, and the blade kept falling upon so many innocent people, killing not less than 30,000 people in France. So the people were terrorized, this period, and his own people, Robespierre's own people, gone against him. But you cannot say that Robespierre only had a severe control of punishment. He had also, did some welfare activities. He has, he wanted to bring equality in the society. For that is why he has, made bread and meat, were rationed during his time. Meat and bread were rationed. Yes, he has also, asked the peasants to sell grains at a price fixed by the government. Yes, and all the titles, the earlier titles during the time of the king were all abolished. No titles were conferred on anyone. And now, nobody can be called Monsieur or Sir and Madam. People should address other people as citoyen and citoyenne. So this is one kind of equality in the society. All were asked to eat the same whole wheat. Nobody is, allowed to have the plain expensive kind of flour. So this was some of the, things done by Robespierre to bring equality in the society. So Robespierre followed his policy so strictly, that his own people went against him. And in 1793, he was sent to the guillotine. The people voted against him. And ultimately, he was sent to the guillotine. So you can see now, after Robespierre, France is without a ruler, and there is political instability in France. So now, the government, the country will be ruled by a directorate, because they have found that power cannot be concentrated in one hand, as they have seen in Robespierre. During the Robespierre time, the power was only with him. So now there is a directory with 5 members and 2 legislative councils, so that power is not entrusted in one hand. Legislative power now is entrusted to 2 houses. One is the House of 500 and the House of Ancient. But what happened is, the legislative councils often clashed with the directors. And they could not come to a conclusion. They do not know what they'll be able to do for the country, because always there is a clash of opinion. So Napoleon was called to defend the convention. And this became a golden opportunity for him. And from there he started his brilliant career in not only invading France, but the other neighboring countries of France. So, from there we see they started in the period of Napoleon in France, and he was a dictator. Now you can see that whatever, rights the people of Europe got were all suspended now under Napoleon. Yes, though Napoleon was a very able administrator, but at the same time he was a dictator too. He has taken away all the rights, the right to speech, the right to expression were all taken away from the people. So, this can be said as the final stage of the revolution. So this revolution is indeed a very significant revolution in the history of the world. The France people had left a legacy for the people of the world. The legacy of right to freedom, right to expression, fraternity, equality before law. These were all the legacy left by the French Revolution for the people of the world. So the French Revolution motivated people, inspired people all over Europe, not only in Europe, other parts of the world as well. And in many places of Europe, Jacobin clubs started because the news of the revolution of France spread over other European countries. And how did it spread? Because, as you remember, the France have got, freedom of expression and speech, and the abolition of censorship. With the abolition of censorship, newspaper, pamphlets flooded the market, not only in Europe, because the news of Europe were carried to other parts, of the Europe as well. And in all the countries, people started, to form Jacobin club and go against the monarch and, establish, unify their country, abolish the monarch. Though the French Revolution failed to protect the republic, they have absolutely failed. Whatsoever revolution has been done throughout, gone in vain, because they were unable to defend the constitution, and that paved the way for a dictator in France, that is Napoleon. So that brings us to the end of the French Revolution, students. Now, from the concluding part, the important questions that may be asked to you, like who was the leader of the Jacobin club, then who were his members. You may get this question, you may get who were known as the Saint-Scouliteurs and why. Then another question which is very, very important is, which period in history is known as the Reign of Terror and why? It may be of 3 marks. All these questions may be of 3 to 5 marks. Most probably of 3 marks, because you have to answer that which period is called and why in 3 points. Then you may get, what did Robespierre do to bring equality in the society? That can be of 5 marks. Okay? Then after these, you may also get that, describe the directory which ruled France. You may also get a question that, what was the effect of the abolition of censorship in Europe? These are the important questions. The last question, that is, so what was the effect of the abolition of censorship in France? That may be of 5 marks. So these are some of the important questions, students, which you may be asked, and the most common question. So students, I hope you have understood the lesson. It was of 3 parts, and this was the last and the concluding part. Students, I am not well today, but still I felt the necessity to upload the concluding part because your exams are also approaching near. So students, if you feel this video helpful, so please subscribe to my channel and do not forget to share this among your friends, so that they may also be benefited. So that brings us end of this chapter.